I'm going to get some. So here we are in Napa Valley, and it's Ron Baker from Verasage and the Black Swan. So we're gonna interview Ron here in a minute, but Ron, just a quick moment about the significance of the Black Swan.
Well, of course, Taleb's book, The Black Swan, about you look around the world and you say, oh, people can't do that because, well, swans are white. And then when we saw the first black swan, people would say, well, that can't be a swan. Swans are all white. And it's the same in the professional world. There's firms out there that don't have timesheets and don't bill by the hour, and people say, well, that can't be done. Well, yeah, that's why we call them black swans.
Very cool. And as we walk in here, we just finished a 3-day meeting here in Napa.
Yep.
And I now have what's known as the Verasage headache.
Yep.
Because your summit here was inspiring and just full of really rich ideas and people. And for that, it's a great experience. I want to come in here and talk to you about your book.
Great.
Shall I record?
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm here in Napa Valley with Ron Baker, and I just got my autographed copy of his newest book called Implementing Value Pricing. I'm Tom Hood, and here with Ron Baker from Verasage.
Hi, Tom.
And Ron, we go back a ways, so this has just been an amazing experience. But I want to kind of get, tell me about your book. Like, what's the main thing that you're like most proud of, or that really the big idea in this new book?
This book is really a following on and continuation of my other prior books. This book deals with changing the business model of what we call professional knowledge firms. We're trying to change the business model from we sell time to we sell, or maybe more appropriately, our customers buy intellectual capital. So it's really a holistic, systematic approach to say, if you're going to move from a professional service firm to a professional knowledge firm, what do you have to do that? You have to look at human capital or intellectual capital. You have to look at what we measure, and we have to look at how we price. And that's what this book deals with. So it's there's those mighty themes in this book. It's a very broad-based book, beyond just pricing.
And I'm about probably halfway through, and I also skimmed a lot of the other parts. And what I think is neat about this book, or what I'm excited about, is you really start to address the implementation.
Yes.
And I know that there's been a lot of people excited about the concept, but struggle with the implementation. Any kind of quick advice that you're, just kind of from your learning, what should people be thinking about if they're really thinking about starting this?
We have an 8-step implementation process in the book, and also when people get the book, there's a website they go to with a password they type in, and there's 7 downloadable appendixes. One for the IT world, one for CPAs, one for law firms, one for advertising agencies. It shows them case studies from firms that have made the transition, sample forms, sample checklists, custom tailored to like the CPA world, and it will really give them a push on implementation, everything they have to do.
Yeah, the other thing I want you to at least talk about is, like, who was in the room at this meeting? I mean, I was really impressed. I just want you to take a minute to talk about the different industries and geographies that are really starting to move on this, that this is not just a little local effort, this is worldwide.
Right, this is worldwide. Well, it's probably more interesting to talk about the people that weren't in the room, but the people that were here were from Australia, were from all over the United States. They're all different professional sectors. The advertising world, there's lawyers in the room, there's IT people, and of course there's CPAs and chartered accountants from Australia, because that's my origin. So I was just really thrilled to see the turnout and have that eclectic type group all in this room.
So what's next? Like, what's Ron thinking about next? Because we started with the Black Swan intro, but you are one of my, I called it this today, you're one of my edge. You keep me thinking about what's next. What is next?
Efficiency versus effectiveness. No, I'm kidding. Probably writing a book on something about how to abolish the performance appraisal system and how to implement more of away from treating people as resources, and how would you design a knowledge firm that treated people like human capital and human beings rather than machines that we evaluate and we measure for efficiency. So maybe taking a look at diving in more to the human capital side of professional firms.
And it's needed so bad. I can tell you that. It's needed so bad. So
I think so too.
I'm glad to have you thinking about that. The other thing that struck me out here is you had some young professionals, like really
Yes.
young kind of startups. What's your thinking about that? That was really pretty cool.
There's a group called Thrive, put together by Jason Bloomer from Greenville, South Carolina, who was here, and of course we had Michael Sue here, and we invited a couple others who unfortunately couldn't make it, but I think the young kids are the future of the profession, and I want to get them in on these ideas so when they launch their own firm, or indeed any business, they have an understanding that we live in a knowledge economy, not an industrial or service economy, that we're true knowledge workers. And I just look at the young kids and think, wow, this is great.
Yeah, I mean, Michelle Golden obviously was one of the facilitators of Verasage Fellow. Her and I've met a few of these folks, Jason, Jody, and some of these folks at Accounting Today conference, and here they are here. So, these people are really doing things fundamentally different, which I think is exciting. I think there's a movement starting, and I think you were already starting a movement, so maybe this is the kind of part of that tipping point notion happening.
Yeah, and it's important to point out too that it's not just the younger generation. Some of the older members of our profession, like a lot of people in the room today, some of the ones that we brought in as fellows are older. There was one gentleman here, CEO of Kennedy & Co., Kurt Seamers, who totally believes in these ideas and is trying to get his firm to move to it. So I don't think it's an age thing.
It's not.
It's not an age thing. I think it's more of a mindset thing.
I think you're exactly right. It's that kind of innovation mindset, growth mindset, versus the status quo mindset. And I think it is exciting to be with those folks here at all generations.
Yeah, totally agree.
Anything else, Ron Baker, that you want to tell folks?
No, well, just on the book, I probably can't put it better than what my colleague Ed Kless said about it. I think it's on the back cover. There's a blurb. He said, if you've read any of Baker's prior works, he said, especially the first book, he said, that's kind of like the Old Testament. He said, this new one is the New Testament. And this is a kind of everything we've learned in the interim. So I'm really proud of this one because it has developed the concept much, much further than my first book.
Yeah, and I would say every CPA should at least read a copy of this.
Thank you,
Ron,
Tom. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.